Does Trump win the election?
I don't know that he's going to be the nominee.
Talk to me.
I mean, he's no spring chicken.
Do you think he might not make it?
I don't know that they're both going to make it. I mean, how old is he? 74?
I think 76.
No, 78.
Yeah, look it up. He's not a spring chicken. And I'm sorry.
77.
77. And what the stuff that they're putting him through, and if Tish James starts taking his house, like, I don't know.
How do you feel about Trump? I know you're not necessarily a fan. Can you expound on why?
It's really kind of funny. So what do you call someone who thinks Trump is dumb, doesn't have the temperament to be president, and kind of sucked as when he was in the Oval Office? A Trump supporter. Right? Because unless you think he's the worst thing to ever happen to America, you're a Trump supporter. Those are the two choices. And if you criticize him in any way, you have TDS. Like this is the fucking retarded binary. I'm sorry. This kind of binary we have where you either have TDS or you're a Trump supporter. It's absolute
What's TDS? Sorry.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Okay.
Like where it's just like, oh my God,
you hate everything Trump.
I'm gonna wear a pussy on my head and show him. Like, okay, yeah. I think he's done a great job at radicalizing people. I think he's done a great job at exposing the evil of the corporate press. That was one of his greatest accomplishments. But if people think that Trump's going to save them, like they're crazy.
And I don't think he's. Do you think he's well intentioned?
No. Who thinks he's well intentioned?
I just want to hear.
I mean, I think he loves America, but he's looking out for number one. More power to him. But we saw who he staffed. Like this idea that Trump at age, what was it, 78? 77 is like learning from his mistakes. The fuck? Like at what point do you stop getting do-overs? Like no one made him hire John Bolton. He hired Omarosa. What the, explain, like this woman on his own show, her whole shtick was like being a snake. Why did you hire Omarosa? Who is her? It's not like she's strong in the black community. It was like Lil' Kim or like Missy. It's like, okay, I get it. Like you're making outreach to people that people like. Fucking Omarosa. What the fuck are you talking
You're the only one that liked her.
You're the only one that liked her. Yeah. So it's just like these, and the thing is, your entire name was spent on 12 years firing and hiring the right people. So how are you fucking hiring and firing John Bolton? What are you talking about? So but the other side, it could be that at this point, like who wants to work for this guy? Because as soon as I leave, he goes on Twitter and calls me a fucking idiot, right?
So then nobody's willing to step up.
Except for the crazies.
So you're left with the crazies.
But the crazies are the ones who get things done. Because the crazies don't give a fuck.
Can you explain why John Bolton was such a peculiar hire? We used to see Bolton at Fox all the time when we would
There's a picture of me sitting next to him giving him the death glare.
Okay, so explain Bolton to the average flagrant listener.
Okay, I'm getting triggered because here's why. I'll tell you why. Because one of my books is on North Korea. I'm like a North Korea guy. And before he was hired in the Trump administration, he had an editorial in the Wall Street Journal, I believe, where he's like, if shit hit the fan between North Korea and South Korea, like America has the right to fucking bomb the fuck out of North Korea without even bothering to tell South Korea. And he knows, and he says in the article, there's nukes pointing from North Korea to Seoul. Seoul is like, 20 miles south of the border, some short distance. Like, you're willing to play roulette and kill in a minute millions of people, and you're putting this in writing in the fucking Wall Street Journal. So he never met a war he didn't like. He just wants to bomb the hell out of everything. I think that's the kind of thing that's got us where we are today.
And he was Trump's Secretary of State?
No, he was. He was National Security Advisor. He was Secretary of State. And he fired him, or he left, whatever. And of course, John Bolton turned on him. But it's just like, what the fuck do you expect?
Yeah. So the idea was that he's going to go out there and clean the swamp, and he's going to take outsiders, et cetera. And John Bolton is a pretty well-known political insider.
How are you going to clean the swamp? And your Secretary of State is the guy who ran Exxon. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I guess the argument is like, with that is, you're taking guys from the private sector and putting them in these positions. But Exxon is obviously lobbying government. They're
gigantic. They have a bigger budget than most countries.
Government organizations here. I think that's the other thing that Americans are now a little bit more aware of. And maybe put him
as Secretary of Commerce. He was Secretary of State, which is diplomacy. What the fuck are you talking about?
And did he shrink government at all?
No, he didn't even try it. He didn't even try it. There was not even.
Why do they think they're going to do it again?
So if these things don't
'Cause they're
matter
told
to
that they are.
people, right? If the data or the facts don't matter to people, one, why is that?
Because people are interested in narratives, not interested in truth.
And what is the narrative on Trump?
Preach.
Well,
That
several.
they're seduced by.
Which who? The Trump supporters?
I'm sure there's different factions, but sure.
I think one of the big narratives is, and they're not wrong, is he's the only candidate out there who cares about us who have been ignored for a long time.
And
Which is valid. I
That's
think.
valid.
I
That's
think
perfectly
that's
true.
valid.
I think that's true.
And if he does care about us, they can look past these other shortcomings because
Or they
that-
see, well, what's the alternative? I'd rather have someone who cares about me than someone who doesn't, right?
Yeah, it's a lesser of two situations, like what we
Yeah.
were saying before. So yeah, he might hire Bolton, and he might put the Exxon guy in there for foreign affairs, and that might help out all the oil companies and yada yada. But he's going to actually do something for us.
No, I think people underestimate how, for decades, the only thing conservatism care about is getting leftists upset. And they consider that a win. It's like, okay, I'm going to sterilize your kids. You get to call me a moron. Which one of us is winning? Do you know what I mean? So the fact that he got people so upset is like, oh, I'm winning. It's like,
Dude,
what's
this
this
is-
happen? But you're not getting any wins, just getting people upset.
Yeah, but
Where's the policy
But
changes?
now we're speaking to what people really want. Like sometimes people don't want change; they just want to dunk on you.
Yes, that's it.
and
Trump's the dunker. Yeah.
and he's going to come in, and
Motherfucker,
he's going
Julius Irving, dude.
He really
Yeah,
is.
true.
He's
He's
incredible.
on the free throw
Is that a
line.
rapper?
Close. He's a basketball player.
Yeah,
That's what I said. Is that a euphemism, basketball player?
Oh, God.
But no, that is a great point.
Wait, can I say one
Yeah.
thing? Oh, I got to say one thing. I'm
What?
serious.
Yes.
I was on the flight coming here. I was asleep. I was like taking a ride. I was asleep. The guy behind me wakes me up screaming, "Someone please help me."
No.
He has his hands around the person next to his neck. And I turn around and hand to God, been spending so much time watching airplane freakouts that I wasn't even scared. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm having a story.
Yeah.
And the first thought was, should I
Jerk
film
off.
this?
Wait, what?
I was already jerking. My first thought was, should I film this? And I swear to God, my second thought was, should I yell out, "World Star"?
You're supposed to film, then
do it.
That's why I thought
He's
that.
working on it. He's working. Yeah.
And it's a
What
long,
happened?
story,
So, yeah, what happened?
short. 'Cause, the guy's wife, mom, excuse me, was having a seizure. She couldn't breathe. And I've never seen someone having a seizure in person.
It's
There was
rough,
no one
yeah.
there. She was like, it was like a
Yeah,
statue. It was
rough.
like very, very scary.
So the hands around the neck were for.
I think he was like trying to just shake
Ah,
her.
got it.
But but is someone a doctor for the love of Jesus? But he called out for Jesus, and Jesus answered.
You're
She's
welcome.
fine. I think
You're welcome.
That's my show. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, back to what people want from Trump. I think that's a really great observation. It's sometimes they say they want all this change, but in reality, they just want revenge. They feel like they've been dunked on for so long by media, different pundits, late night shows, and all of a sudden this guy comes out and he's shooting, and he's taking down everybody, and he's the best at it. So you feel this sense of, I guess, weird. It's victory, freedom, revenge.
But the thing is, if you're gonna
Biden's the guy who comes in for garbage minutes and passes
Yeah,
it out.
yeah.
For
The
real.
thing is, if
Yeah.
you're gonna, the problem with Trump is if you're gonna storm their forts, you got to rape their women and kill their kids. You don't just storm the fort and be like, "You're a loser." Okay, bye. Like, what's the point?
But maybe that was enough. I think
it wasn't enough. Look where we are.
But
For what
the
people wanted.
It was enough for them.
It was their pound of
yeah,
flesh.
We're not talking about
Yes,
like
it wasn't even a pound of flesh. It was a picture.
That's all they
Yeah,
cared
yeah.
about. But that's all they
Yes,
cared about.
yes.
And imagine being in a situation where that's all you need. Like, that's a pretty dire situation where you're not even like, all right, fuck change. I don't even need change. There's no way that's actually going to happen.
Right.
Just tell them they're fat.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty.
Do you feel the same way about like storming the Capitol? That was a symbolic victory that people felt like they did something, but it was completely trivial.
I mean, this is another argument against Trump. These were your people, and you fucking let them sit in solitary? Fuck you. I mean, what kind of
What do you
man
think
are
should happen to them?
They should be elected and put in. I mean, it's a
You
good.
have a perfect answer for
It's-
everything. And it's not a real answer, but it's a perfect answer. You got a little Trump in you. Perfect answer.
You're fired. I think that when these people who didn't bring weapons were put in solitary confinement for a long time,
Yeah.
and he did nothing for them except like later he's like kind of bringing their mantle. I think it's just absolutely fucking outrageous that they weren't charged for months at a time, that they had the book thrown at them is just absolutely crazy. And I think it's a good thing when politicians are afraid. I think that's a very healthy thing for America, for any country.
So do you think our politicians have gotten a little too comfortable?
Gotten. I mean, they've been that way for decades.
Yeah. They're on planes. They're fucking teenagers on islands.
One of the best things Trump did, and this is one of the great moments, maybe you guys could play the clip, was a bunch of congressmen were going to Afghanistan, I think, to a military base, and Trump, as head of the executive branch, pulled their permission slip. He goes, you can't use a federal plane. And they had to circle the bus around, and they drove him back. And they all had to get off the fucking bus. And they didn't know what to do with it. He fucking...
And why did he do that? What was the
just to
purpose
fuck with them.
But like...
Because Nancy Pelosi was like, you can't give the State of the Union while this shit's going on. He goes, well, then you can't get on a plane. And like the bus ran around for like half an hour. Like, what do we do? And they all have to fucking get off the bus looking like assholes.
So here's a perfect
It
example.
was hilarious. But who cares?
But you like it. You
I
like to see them getting dumped
but I'm
on.
not a Trump voter.
No, I'm not saying you are, but it satisfied that little itch that you had, which is
It
okay.
did satisfy
check
that
these
itch.
fucking.
That itch should be satisfied. And I can't finish this.
Yeah, I know you can. Yeah. But I hear what you're saying. Okay. And then now, what do you think people on the left are feeling now or want now?
I don't think the left is like a monolith. I really don't like that characterization because I think there's a lot of, like, for example, I have a lot of friends who are lefties, like 2016, they hated Hillary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me change the question. The people that maybe voted for Biden last election.
The corpses.
Yeah, or like the corpses, or the people who are like, ugh, I can't vote for this fucking Trump dude.
Yeah, sure.
But they're not these purple-haired lesbians.
Absolutely, there's lots of them. Yeah.
Okay, what are they thinking now? What do they need now? Do they feel satisfied? Do you think that they're embarrassed?
I think it's a mix. I think a lot of people aren't going to vote for someone who's got a mugshot. I think a lot of people don't pay attention to politics. They see a mugshot, they're like, all right, I can't do this. So maybe they won't vote for Biden, maybe they'll sit at home. That's a big issue.
So they sit it out.
Yeah, a lot of people, it's the supermarket.
And that's the power of the mugshot.
You
fucking
is.
bring him in, get his picture taken, and that's enough for some people.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. Like, if I'm not paying attention to politics, I know a guy's got all these charges. I'm like, fuck it, I can't bring myself to vote for him. Maybe this other guy sucks, but I can't do it. So I can understand that. Supermarket's a big thing.
Meaning
like
the cost
prices,
of goods.
yeah, it's just like, all right, like this is a problem. It was easier before, so that's a big. Those people are going to vote for Trump. I don't think we're going to know what I think. Here's the thing, and this is not a particularly bold thing for me to say. I think shit's going to get crazy in a way we haven't seen before. Because if he's where he is in the polls now, Trump, where he's leading, which he never led at all in any poll in 2020, it was like one poll. He's leading in a lot of the polls. Things are going to get nuts. And one of the predictions I had is if they pull Biden, their plan B is going to be Hillary.
Oh my God.
And she would probably win.
Really?
Hold on.
She got millions more votes the last time.
Well,
Now
no.
that doesn't count in terms of electoral college, but if I'm starting out with a faster time than you know what I mean? And I just got to switch a few thousand in a few states. That's a really strong opening position. She doesn't have to defend Biden. She gets Newsom as VP, so he gets the suburban white woman vote. She would go on that debate stage, go, 8 years ago, you said I'd be in jail. You're the one with the mugshot. Right? And even you laughed. See? It's funny.
I just
mean,
find her so
at this-
wholly unlikable. I don't know one thing or another about Trump. I just thought 2016 to 2020 there was so much fucking debate and everything was such a thing. I kind of enjoy the relative peace, even though I don't think Biden's a good president. Hillary, though, I just find so Biden, corpse or not, relatively sweet old guy he seems. So as an uninformed guy who doesn't even really vote, to be honest with you, I would be, if I had to vote, I'd be like, all right, I guess just give me the fucking quiet corpse as opposed to the guy who's going to rile everyone up. But Hillary, I'm not voting.
Can they even swap somebody in at this time?
Well, if he
Wouldn't you have-
dies.
Oh, so you're
he's
saying
incapacitated, but they could just sit him down. Look, what happened in
Mentally unfit. He could
No, but I mean, like,
in 2020,
to
but
have your name on the ballot?
sure,
Like, I think you had to announce about it.
Yeah, I'll explain what happened in 2020.
In other words, just shut up.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, it's really rude.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying that. I'm just implying it. So, in 2020, there was something called Super Tuesday, which is a bunch of primaries in the same day.
Yeah.
And Klobuchar and Buttigieg got the phone call because Bernie Sanders was leading in every state. They go, "It's Biden." They just quit. They're like, "Oh yeah, we endorse Biden," and Biden swept it the next day. So I'm sure someone give Biden the call, being like, "Dude, you're losing to Trump. It's a wrap." Because he's a function of the party. He's a party hack since the 70s.